Welcome to the Parkland Report. My name is Seamus Reilly. Joining me today, Jim Bustard, Physical Plant Manager, Construction Manager here at Parkland College. Welcome to the Parkland Report, Jim.
Thanks, Seamus.
There's an awful lot going on. It's a big campus. How big a campus is it in terms of its physical size and space?
The physical size, we have roughly 245 acres on campus. We have just over 750,000 square feet of usable space. If you consider all the storage spaces and the overhang, we're getting close to 1 million square feet now on campus.
So that's a lot of maintenance. We've started off in the last couple of years making some improvements to the overall appearance of the place, because obviously the building is aged. There was a certain style when it was built. Talk a little bit about some of the sort of cosmetic changes that we've made across campus.
Well, over the last few years, we've been doing some interior remodeling. We've remodeled all the restrooms on campus. We're working literally wing by wing to go through and change the appearance of the inside. New carpeting, some new trim, some new laminates. We're in the process of finishing up an interior signage project, wayfinding. We have some exterior projects as well. There's an exterior wayfinding signage project that'll start in about 3 weeks. We have replaced all the roofs on campus with new metal shingle roof panels. We've done some exterior painting as well. We have some projects that have also enhanced some of the interior spaces. We've remodeled the gymnasium, or the Donald Dodds Athletic Center now. We're in the process of remodeling the lower level of that facility, which is all new locker rooms, some new classrooms, activities rooms, and new training room.
So one of the things that's really interesting in terms of the cosmetic changes has been it has brightened the campus. I mean, it
Absolutely.
there's a lot of windows at Parkland College, a lot of doors at Parkland College, but there's also an awful lot of interior space and interior sort of courtyard space within the wings. And so the addition of sort of pastel colors, for example, accent colors around sort of the lighter wood laminate, the sort of contrast on the woodwork has made a big difference to the interior of the college.
It has. It's changed the look substantially from a lot of the initial or the original design of the building had a lot of interior brick, which we've left, and it also had some dark wood trim, which we've now removed a lot of that. As you said, we've put some pastels and some lighter colors. We've changed somewhat the interior white color to a lighter color. It's brightened up the space substantially. We've had substantial comments from students, faculty, staff, visitors. They like the looks of it. It is much brighter. It's quite a change.
One of the interesting things about the Parkland, of course, as a building in terms of its sort of award-winning architecture is its roof lines, which I know architects are very intrigued by. In replacing the roof, we managed to keep the sort of the cosmetic appearance, but it's a totally different manufactured shingle, which is interesting, right?
Yeah, the original design was a composite clay tile. They were individual tiles. Gave a very striking look along with the different roof angles. From a maintenance standpoint, we had from the very beginning when the college was new, we had the original physical plant had problems with that. Some of the tiles were prone to come off or to crack when people went up on the roof for maintenance. These new tiles give the almost identical appearance, but they're a metal shingle tile. We have a 45-year life expectancy warranty on those. They're much easier to walk on. But again, from standing outside looking at it, the difference in appearance is almost negligible.
So one of the things the college has been doing over the last 15, 20 years has been an ongoing PHS project to improve the exterior in terms of the parking. We're very proud of our green space here at Parkland College. The college has been very good at maintaining that green space and adding to it, certainly in terms of planting trees across the campus. But we've also made significant improvements to the overall parking at Parkland. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how we go through it?
Yeah, that actually started in 2000. It's Protection, Health, and Safety. It's a fund that allows us to make improvements to the campus that affect those three things. Back in 2000, we retained a civil engineering firm here out of Champaign, and we looked at ways we can improve the parking structures, the way water drains off campus, our walking paths, our ADA accessibility from outside to inside. Every year we do between $1 million and $2 million in improvements. We've worked almost all the way around the campus now. We've been able to add parking spaces. We've been able to improve our accessibility from outside the building to the inside of the building. And in doing that, we've been able also to actually improve our green spaces without really taking away from what was originally designed in the campus. Our plan has always been to, if we have to remove trees, we always try to replant new trees. For however many we take out, we try to put some back. in the last few years, we've actually been able to add more trees than we've taken out. You can tell by being on campus, it's a beautiful green space. Once some of the current construction projects are out of the way, we'll be able to, again, increase our green space on campus.
So one of the nice things about the way some of those PHS projects dovetail with sort of, you know, some of the more recent construction or beginning construction we'll talk about in a second, on the west side of campus in terms of solving quite a major drainage problem, but also preparing space for new construction, part of which was a new entrance to Parkland.
Right.
That was a significant undertaking which benefited not just Parkland in terms of maintaining our rainwater on campus, but also taking it away from the residential area across the street. That's
right. On the west side of campus, most of the water shed to the west and unfortunately would cross Duncan Road and end up in the, I think it's Timberline subdivision. Working with our engineers, we also work with the city of Champaign, we're able to retain all that water that sheds from the west side of campus into a new retainage pond, which is at the corner of Duncan and Bradley, which really solves two things. It solves our west side drainage problem, which is now we have enlarged our Tony Knoll Agricultural Center, and along with our new construction for the applied technology, but it's also helped the people in Timberline not have the drainage problems they had, where several houses would have water in their basement, they'd have flooding in their yards. It's been a really good deal both for Parkland and for our neighbors, so we're very pleased with that addition.
So the new west entrance, where we moved the entrance in anticipation of the new construction, let's talk a little bit about the Applied Technology Center. How big a building is it?
It's about 85,000 square feet. It's a single-story precast concrete structure. It's just to the north of the existing Tony Knoll Agricultural Center. We've got automotive programs in there. We also have our industrial technology. There's 4 major areas of the building. We are just now finishing up. We're going to have classes completely, the building will be completely open for fall semester this year, and I believe we're going to have a couple of short summer classes in there starting about June 11th.
Talk about a little bit about sort of like the site and choosing it and the aspect of it. It's outside of what we call the perimeter road, but it does really seem to fit with the rest of the campus, as well as being sort of an interesting individual building, right?
Right. We looked at there was a substantial amount of design and consideration that went into that. We retained an architect from here in Champaign. We worked with the user group, the faculty group, at great length to try to design a facility that would be usable to them, would stay within our budget range, but also work in a location that works for the campus, for the college as a whole. We looked at several locations for it. We chose the one that's its current location, northwest side of campus. That seemed to be the best location for a large single-story facility. In making that location, it required us to move the entryway off Duncan Road, which actually helped the traffic flow on the major part of campus. It moved the entryway closer to the intersection of Duncan and Bradley. Now more students can find that an easier way on the campus and an easier way off the campus, particularly during those high traffic hours. It's a very large facility. It's a little bit different design than what we've had previously, particularly from the architecture on the inside of the perimeter drive. But as you had said, it does seem to blend fairly well. It's a little bit different look, but it's very nice.
And lots of light.
Lots of light. The building, if we talk about the building design, is going to be LEED certified. In part of that, there's a lot of outside windows, a lot of natural light that comes in. There's several systems in there that are a little bit different from us. It has geothermal, a lot of occupancy sensors. Ventilation systems are a little bit different. It's going to be a spectacular facility.
And as you said, it houses sort of our automotive process. Some of the more interesting things about the design, in my opinion, are related to the automotive labs and the way in which those automotive labs work within the classroom. We have a classroom big enough to drive a car in, right?
We have, actually right now, we'll have 3 classrooms that are big enough so the classroom itself will have student work areas, which are desks and chairs or table and chairs, but you have the ability to bring in a car or 2 cars where you can have a lecture with the car or the truck in the room with the students. And in that is a vehicle lift, so they can actually lift the vehicle up and look at the underside or take the wheels and tires off. That particular part, we have General Automotive. We have a program with Ford that we work with Ford to provide training for their technicians. So we can bring as many as 20 or 30 cars into the whole lab area. It's about 23,000 square feet of space just for those two programs. So it's a spectacular area for them.
And sort of, as automotive has gone high-end technology
Yes.
in terms of computer, and our students being trained in computer. So as well as being a very sophisticated sort of lab space, it's also a very sophisticated computer space in terms of the equipment they're using, right?
Absolutely. We will have what our instructors consider pretty much state-of-the-art. All the equipment in there is pretty much computer connected or computer controlled. We have two engine and chassis dynamometers in that space. We have the ability to hook into the state-of-the-art electronic controls so that students can learn how to troubleshoot and how to fix those pieces of equipment. It really is state-of-the-art.
So moving in a clockwork manner around campus, then we get to the Donald Dodds Athletic Center. You talked about the renovations in that building. I mean, really in terms of the actual physical space, not really doing anything to change the size of that center, but really making a huge impact in terms of its appearance, right?
Right. That space was constructed in 1975 and has been pretty much untouched, other than occasional painting and some minor upkeep. The first thing we did was we completely gutted the existing locker room area, and we've created brand new showers, brand new locker room areas, but we've also created team rooms for Parkland athletic teams. So the Parkland teams have their own area, and then teams that come that are visiting for basketball, for volleyball, have their places where they can have their own team rooms, and their own locker rooms keeps the two teams separate, which is really good for teams.
Good. Yeah.
And involved in that, we've been able to get that. We've created the appearance. Everything looks brand new because everything is brand new. And then this summer we'll be working on the two areas surrounding the locker room. There are some classrooms and activities rooms on the south. Those will be all completely gutted, new drywall, new finishes in there, new carpeting. And on the north side we're going to create a brand new training room for our athletic programs. Right now they're in a space that's probably 12 by 20. We're going to actually double their size, give them state-of-the-art equipment to work with. We're also going to create some extra storage space, which obviously athletics and kinesiology can use. It's really going to be a really neat facility.
One of the good things about the sort of construction process here is the way in which we seem to be able to take our new construction, new facilities, and connect it to the classroom. And probably the best example of that would be the fitness center, and the way in which we dovetail sort of like a state-of-the-art fitness center with a kinesiology program, opportunity for students to sort of get a hands-on lab experience working with clients. The fitness center is a really a super addition to campus, right? Oh,
it's a really cool addition. We're probably 95% complete with that addition. It's on the east side of the Donald Dodds Athletic Center. It's 2 stories. There's a main fitness floor with an activities room, an office, a conference room, and we also have an upstairs activities room, storage room, and then we have an upstairs walking track, which is, I think students, faculty, and staff are going to use that quite a lot. The design was really interesting. We worked with kinesiology staff, we worked with the athletic department, but also the idea that students, faculty, staff, and the public can sign up for a class and take a fitness class. So we put all those people together and try to create a usable space within the realm of the budget we had and the space we had, the location. It's going to be a really cool space. Again, there's a lot of natural light that comes in. 90% of the equipment on the fitness floor is brand new. It has the state-of-the-art flooring system in there. They'll have a sound system. There's televisions. It's going to be a great combination of use by the kinesiology class as a training facility, but also for people to come in and work out in it.
Well, and a great addition to the Parkland campus,
Absolutely.
and a great asset and resource for everybody who works here.
Get the ball rolling to a new career with an Eastern Illinois University degree at Parkland College.
Parkland and Eastern really made it work for me.
Now I'm taking Eastern classes on Parkland's campus. I'm working on my bachelor's degree from Eastern without commuting.
Thanks to Parkland and Eastern, I'm reaching my goals.
For more on Eastern at Parkland, call 217-351-2543.
Catch live play-by-play coverage of Parkland sports. Live the action live. Coversports.net.
Even though I've been around cars my entire life, I still felt the need to further my knowledge and get a degree. Parkland College was really close to home. John Ross really went up and beyond anything I expected from any instructor. He was able to place students in really good jobs.
Parkland College is tremendously affordable when we compare it to other schools that offer automotive technology or other four-year institutions. We have a motorsport program. We do an annual car show. We have 100% placement with our graduates.
The automotive program at Parkland was outstanding.
Well, so the major piece of construction, and it seems incredible, we've been talking about this for years and years and years, but the capital bill finally came through, and we're finally able to work on the sort of crown jewel of construction, and that's our new student services building. Can you talk a little bit about the origin of why we thought we needed that building, and then also its location?
Okay, the idea of a new centralized student service center, I believe, came about in the early 90s. The functions that an incoming student would need, admissions and records, financial aid, the business office, counseling and advising, those things are fairly well spread out on campus. And for someone to come on campus the first time, where do they get started? How do they find where they need to go? So the idea was we bring all those functions together, those things that incoming students would need, and to some degree existing students, put those in a central location that creates a front door for the college that's identifiable as where do we start, how do we track through that process of becoming a Parkland student. So that started back in the 90s. It's been on the Illinois Community College Board list for projects since, I believe, 1995. As you mentioned, the state of Illinois came through with about 50% of what was needed to fund that project last year. So we've been in the design process, creating that space, again, working with the user groups to make the best usable facility for students and for the existing faculty and staff to use it. And one of the big piece was, how do we create a front door that's noticeable and in a location that's best for the campus? We literally looked at every single square foot on this physical campus of where could we put it would be the best spot. Where it's located is going to be on the east side of campus. Right where the existing bus drop is, we'll have locations into the B wing, the A wing, and the L wing, directly walking through so you can travel back and forth. We'll have access to adjacent parking lots in the B wing. It's going to have a very large front door that's a full glass area, big lobby, so that it does become that noticeable. This is the way in. It'll dovetail in with our exterior signage projects, which will lead incoming students or potential students or visitors into that space. It's a very, very large building. It's going to be about 115,000 square feet. It will house all of our student service functions. It'll have a brand new bookstore in it, and part of what some of us are excited about is a brand new food service and dining area, substantially larger than we currently have. It will seat about 375 people inside with an outdoor seating area as well, and our ability to provide food service will be substantially enhanced, probably 3 or 4 times bigger than we currently have.
So, you know, one of the things you mentioned was the fact that this began planning stages in the 1990s. The shrinking of foot per student and per student services employee had been substantial. I mean, our enrollment had increased dramatically in the last 20 years, and so this is really a sort of a crucial addition to campus. You mentioned the food service. I mean, I know one of the other things that you have responsibility for is the food service. We have a new food service provider on campus. This will give a totally different experience for people in terms of enjoying food, ability to cater for faculty and staff functions, and just generally creating a sort of a very welcoming and warm atmosphere on the college campus.
Right. We went out and put out a request for proposals from several food companies that are very, very large commercial food entities. We chose a company out of the Illinois area called Food for Thought. They've been on campus now with us since our spring break ended back in the end of March. The response has been overwhelmingly good. They're currently working in our current space, which is somewhat limited for what they want to do. They're very excited about the construction, the ability to move into a new space where they can offer so many more things. The ability to provide that food service with quality food at a reasonable price to students and the faculty and the staff, or even visitors, is a huge, huge addition to the campus. Providing that new space over there, which is going to be a wonderful open airy space, different kinds of seating, along with those different kind of food options. It's a substantial improvement for people here on Parkland.
I know one of the things that you've been concerned about all the way through the various different construction processes has been the sustainability, and the student services is going to be a particularly impressive building in terms of sustainability, right?
Yes, we've worked diligently not only with the architects who are Perkins & Will and IGW. Perkins & Will's out of Chicago, IGW is out of Urbana. It's a partnership between those two entities. We've also included our sustainability committee on campus to work with the design of that building. It again will be a LEED certified building. Right now we're anticipating it will be a LEED Gold certified building. Lots of natural outside light. Very high efficiency building, the way the mechanical systems are designed, the electrical systems, the lighting, again, the high ventilation. We're excited about the building. We're excited about some things once the building is in place to be able to show how the building was designed and how the building is currently being used. We're anticipating being able to show the energy usage to visitors and to students and faculty and staff. Part of our sustainability committee is faculty, and they're being able to use that facility and the ATC building to show in their classes how sustainability really works in real life.
And what's the estimated completion time on this big baby?
Again, it's a very, very large building, and due to the location, just the way it is, it's a very complex building, and we're scheduled to be complete in late summer of 2013. To be honest, just from the complexity, I wouldn't be surprised if we're maybe a little bit late on that. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or put that out there. It's just being a little bit realistic. If we make 15, 16 months from now to completion, we'll be just excited. So sometime in 2013, towards the middle end of summer, we're hopefully we will be completed.
And we're talking about a significant increase to the overall space on campus,
Yes.
usable space. And we're not quite done because we have another project that is also in the works, which will,
Right.
you know, we should have mentioned earlier, this was a very comprehensive master plan that was developed for the campus for the whole 245 acres. The initial plan that we looked at in terms of construction also included additional space for fine and applied arts.
Absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit about the two pieces of that?
Right. There's two portions to fine and applied arts. There's a black box theater that will be adjacent to our existing theater that gives our theater production people many more options on what the kind of productions they can put out, how they use that space, how they can use that space as a practice facility. It's just going to offer the theater production and theater arts just a different way to look at how they do things, a lot more flexibility. The second part of that will be to expand our art classes. Right now on campus, our 2D and 3D arts are spread in 3 or 4 different locations. One of those locations is in a building that was originally designed to be just a temporary building only for a few years. I believe that was 1983. We're still using that facility. And quite frankly, we're at the stage where the facility either a substantial amount of money has to be put into that, or we really need to just demolish it and start over. So we've retained a local architect. Literally just this afternoon, we'll be starting the programmatic phase of it, where we bring all the faculty, all the user groups together and start brainstorming what do we want the building to look like, how are we going to use it, and again, where is it going to be located? Because obviously with how things interact on campus, the location will be very critical. We could end up with everything in one location, with art, the black box, the theater, all located together. We could end up with 2 different locations. Again, the architects working with the user groups will put that together. It's going to take several months to get through this programmatic design, and again, then the design of the facility itself. Sometime probably in the spring of next year, I would imagine we'll go out to bid and probably start construction.
As we go through this, you mentioned a number of times the collaborative nature of how we've gone about sort of working with user groups as well as the external folks who come in to design and build the building. We also had an interesting sort of process to develop the space in terms of the backfill. So once this new construction is done in student services, we're then going to be looking at a significant change to the interior campus in certain areas to accommodate the vacated space.
Absolutely. When the Student Service Center is complete, we'll have 60, 70,000 square feet on campus that now becomes empty. So to give credit to our Vice President of Academics, Dr. Chris Young, Dr. Young pulled together a lot of different people and looked at, we have a lot of empty space. What's the best use for that space? Some of it will be reprogrammed as office space. A lot of it will be reprogrammed into classrooms, because that's always the big demand here on campus is obviously for classrooms. That's what we do, is educate students, obviously. That's going to be a big project. And again, we really can't start much of that until we move, the people who are moving into the Student Service Center move into that new location and then reprogram that space. That's somewhat of a moving target. We know kind of who's going in where, but we're not really sure what's going to be involved in reprogramming those spaces. So we'll get to that somewhere in the fall of next year, and hopefully before too long we'll have some nice remodeled areas and get people moved around and get some additional space.
One of the things that's nice personally for me is to look at the campus in terms of its original design and appearance and shape, which has not changed a lot, and then to see some of the changes that have been made to the interior space, which essentially make it like a brand new building. So, you know, within a couple, 3 years, we're looking at a beautiful additions to the campus, a significant modernizing and change of the interior space, while still maintaining that sort of signal sort of integrity that Parkland has as a building. Yeah,
and one of the things the Board of Trustees has been very good about, and has been in their leadership through that, is to maintain the initial architecture of the building, the look of Parkland College that makes Parkland what it is from an architectural and aesthetic standpoint. What we wanted to do is maintain that architectural look, but also upgrade it, make it brighter, make it more useful, make it easier to find your way around. I think we're doing that, and I can thank the Board of Trustees, the administration, for leading that charge to keep the initial design, which is so beautiful, but move us into what's new, really to brighten it up, make it look brand new, and I think that's where we're heading. We've done it architecturally. We're also working, we have a lot of mechanical improvements that we're currently working on that improve the function of the existing mechanical systems, the heating, the ventilating, the air conditioning, but also to improve how the building is inhabited, just the feel of hot classrooms versus cold classrooms. We want to improve that and at the same time make the building more efficient, use less energy, reduce our carbon footprint.
Well, with so much going on, I really appreciate you taking the time this morning to come in and talk to us, and thanks so much for what you do.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Parkland Report. We'll see you back here next time.